The crystalline spires of Zarthina pierced the violet sky like shards of frozen starlight. Burak stood in the court of convergence, his human heart hammering against his ribs as 1,000 alien eyes fixed upon him. The titanium floor beneath his boots hummed with gravitational stabilizers, keeping the massive chamber locked in perpetual equilibrium between 3 moons. "The human will approach," commanded Queen Velsara. Her voice resonating through the bioacoustic amplifiers embedded in the chamber walls. Burak stepped forward, his exosuit servos whispering with each movement. Beside the queen's obsidian throne sat Princess Maya, alive, her iridescent skin still bearing the faint traces of quantum decay he'd reversed just 48 hours ago. Her eyes, those impossible eyes that shifted between dimensions, met his with something he couldn't quite name. 3 days ago, Burak had been a xenobiological engineer stationed on the terraform platform orbiting Zarthana's largest moon. His job was simple: monitor the atmospheric processors, maintain the nanic colonies, submit weekly reports to Earth Colonial Command. Nothing in his training had prepared him for the distress beacon that erupted from the royal transport vessel. The ship had been caught in a quantum eddy, a rare spatial phenomenon where multiple timelines converged and canceled each other out. Standard protocol dictated waiting for specialized recovery teams. But Burak had seen the biosignatures failing on his scanner. One signature in particular, Princess Maya, daughter of the most powerful monarch in the Andromeda Traverse. He'd violated 6 interstellar treaties by taking his maintenance shuttle into the eddy. The quantum turbulence had torn at his ship's hull, probability waves collapsing and reforming the metal structure in real time. Through the chaos, he'd managed to dock with the royal transport dot inside. He'd found her. Maya had been phasing between states of existence: solid, liquid, energy, and something else his instruments couldn't identify. Quantum decay, the death reserved for those unfortunate enough to be caught in timeline convergence. Her cellular structure was being pulled into multiple realities simultaneously, each version of her dying in a different universe. Burak's xenobiology expertise had kicked in. He'd jury-rigged a quantum stabilization field using the transport's medical bay and his shuttle's fusion core. The mathematics had been insane, calculating probability matrices, while the universe itself seemed to fold around them. One miscalculation and both timelines would have collapsed, erasing them from existence entirely, but it had worked. He'd anchored her to this timeline, this reality, using a resonance pattern derived from her own genetic markers. When the royal fleet finally arrived, they'd found Burak unconscious from radiation exposure and Maya stable, breathing. Alive. Now he stood before the assembled court representatives from 47 star systems, each more powerful than Earth's entire colonial sphere. The air shimmered with translation fields, converting thousands of languages into coherent meaning. "The Rekchen Torres of Earth," Queen Velsara continued, rising from her throne. She was massive, easily 3 meters tall, her form composed of what appeared to be living crystal that pulsed with inner light. "You entered a prohibited zone. You boarded a sovereign vessel without authorization. You employed experimental procedures on a member of the royal family." The court murmured sounds like wind through alien forests, like water over impossible geometries. "By the laws of the Traverse," the queen said, "these actions warrant molecular disintegration." Burak's throat went dry. He'd known this was possible, but hearing it spoken made it real. He glanced at Maya, who sat rigid, her hands gripping the armrests of her seat. However, Velsara's voice shifted, carrying a harmonic that Burak's translation implant struggled to process. "You also saved the heir to the throne of Zarthana. You risked timeline erasure, a fate worse than death, to preserve her existence." The queen descended from her throne, each step causing ripples of light to spread across the floor. She stopped before Burak, towering over him. "The old laws speak of the right of preservation," she said. "When one saves royal blood from certain death, they may be claimed by the crown. Their skills, their knowledge, their very existence becomes bound to the royal house." Burak felt the weight of her words. "Claimed? You are hereby bound to the house of Zarthana," Velsara declared, her voice filling the chamber. Your expertise in quantum biology is too valuable to return to Earth. You will serve as royal xenobiologist. Advisor to the throne, and she paused. And Burak could have sworn he detected something like amusement in her crystalline features. Personal guardian to Princess Maya. The court erupted. Delegates from Earth's colonial authority protested, their holographic representatives flickering with indignation. But the Zarthanan nobles raised their appendages in approval. Creating a symphony of alien affirmation. Maya stood, moving to stand beside her mother. Up close, Burak could see the subtle patterns of light that moved beneath her skin, evidence of the quantum stabilization, still maintaining her cellular integrity. "Do you accept this claiming?" Velsara asked, though her tone suggested refusal wasn't truly an option. Burak looked at Maya. In her eyes, he saw gratitude, yes, but also something else. Curiosity, perhaps even respect. He thought of his small quarters on the terraform platform. The endless routine of monitoring atmospheric processors. The profound loneliness of being one human among the stars. "I accept," he said, that the queen placed one crystalline hand on his shoulder. The touch sent a cascade of sensory data directly into his nervous system. He suddenly understood the layout of the palace, the protocols of court, the basic molecular structure of Zarthanan biology. Information flooded his mind, organized and indexed by technology far beyond Earth's capabilities. "Then it is done," Velsara pronounced. "Let the Traverse bear witness. Burak Chun-Torres is now of House Zarthena." As the court dissolved into formal ceremonies and diplomatic protocols, Maya approached him. She extended her hand, a gesture she'd clearly learned from studying human customs. "Thank you," she said in perfect English, her voice bypassing the translation field. "For choosing uncertainty." Burak took her hand, feeling the quantum resonance between them, the pattern he'd anchored her with still humming faintly between their cells. "I'm a scientist," he replied with a slight smile. "Uncertainty is kind of my thing." Outside the chamber's transparent walls, Zarthena's three moons aligned, creating a cascade of gravitational harmonics that made the entire palace sing. Burak realized his old life was gone, dissolved like probability waves collapsing into a single timeline. But as Maya led him toward his new quarters, explaining the bioluminescent gardens and the quantum libraries, he found he didn't mind. He'd saved a princess from death, and in return, the universe had claimed him for something far greater than monitoring. Atmospheric processors. The alien queen had made her decree before the court. And Burak Chun-Torres, human, scientist, guardian, stepped forward into an impossible future.